So let's take this slowly. Consider this example a bit more. There are two designators here. There's Al Gore, which is a proper name, and there's the President of the US in 2001, which is a definite description. So we're saying, okay, consider what goes on when you have the counterfactual using this proper name and this definite description. Let's consider the world where Al Gore is president in 2001. In that world, let's call it World 17, right? World 17? Okay. We all agree, that's obviously World 17, right? Nobody here thinks it's World 18, I hope. Okay. Now then, okay, so in World 17, what does the name Al Gore refer to? The name Al Gore refers to an object in this world. The name Al Gore refers to an object in World 17. Is it the same object, or is it a different object? Is it going to the same man? The right answer is yes. Many of you are about to nod. Okay. Yes, I mean, because after all, we want to be talking about this man, Gore. We imagine him unhappy, dejected, figuring out what he's going to do with his life, and we say, no, let's look at him over here, where he wins the presidency, and his step is buoyant. He is full of plans. Right? The whole point is we're talking about the same person. Yeah, there would be a different scenario. Let's consider somebody else who might have won. We want to be talking about Al Gore here and here. Yeah? But now consider the definite description. The President of the US in 2001. That is a denotation here. Whom does it denote here? Bush, thank you. Right. Okay. Who does it denote in this world, in World 17? Gore, right, it denotes somebody different. So when we're considering World 17, the name Al Gore refers to just the same person as it does in this world. Whereas in that world, the President of the US is a description that's fitting, that's denoting someone other than it does in the actual world. Isn't that weird? So what's going on is that when you talk about what could happen in different possible situations, you use a name like Al Gore to keep track of the same object through all these different possibilities you're considering. So if I say Al Gore could have done this, Al Gore really could have been a great religious leader, I say. Well, the whole point about using the name there is I want to keep tabs on one object and say of it what could be going on with it in all these different possible scenarios. Whereas if you're using a description like the President of the USA, that's specifying the kind of role that an object has. Being President of the USA in 2001 is a role that one person actually fulfilled, but lots of different people could have filled that role. And that's in general true for definite descriptions. If you say the tallest person in the room, then at the moment one person is filling that role, but obviously there are lots of different worlds in which other people fill that role. So for definite descriptions generally, when you consider different possible scenarios, definite descriptions denote different people. Okay? Yep.
Is this true for universities among all philosophers, or is this disputed between different people?
I mean, this is just a sociological question, but I think that what I just said is not greatly disputed. There have been some attempts to dispute this, but I think they have fizzled out. It's actually very difficult to dispute this. I mean, because I hope when I say it, well, Al Gore is specifying that thing, that man, and saying what goes on with him, whatever. Yeah, that really seems very intuitive. Yeah, if I'm explaining this right, it should sound very intuitive. Okay, 1, 2, yeah.
I'm confused because we're saying in the alternate world it's the same person.
Yeah, that's right.
I can imagine a world where that's not his name.
Very good. Yeah, that's true. Al Gore might not have been called Al Gore. He might have been called Rumpelstiltskin, right? As it might be, yeah. Okay, he'd still be Al Gore. Al Gore by any other name would still be Al Gore. You couldn't make him not Al Gore just by giving him a different name. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, but in the other world.
In the other world,
Al Gore, they don't know who you're talking about, right?
Right, in the other world, they wouldn't know who you were talking about. That too is true. But how should I put this? Look, suppose I really wish I was a different person, right? I hate myself. I hate my life. I wish I was a different person, right? I can change my name. That's not really going to do it, right? I'm still John Campbell, right? Under any other name. You see what I mean? And the same is true when you consider a different possible world. I can say, I wish I'd been... Actually, let me not go down that. Change of name is one thing, and change of person is a different thing. And when you go from world to world, when I say Al Gore could have been this or that, I'm keeping tabs on the same person. I'm not necessarily keeping tabs on what they're called in all those different worlds. Yeah, that is important. That is extremely confusing. Often. Yeah.
How does this work with Searle's theory of cluster descriptions? Because it seems like, suppose Al Gore were the president in 2000, that might change the cluster of descriptions like expansively, so that the majority of those descriptions are of him as president as opposed to of him as the previous one. So does that mean that they would actually be different people for Searle?
That really picks up on the last question, actually. That what you're talking about there is, if I can just go back to, remember World 17? In World 17, where Al Gore is president, you're right, the cluster of descriptions is going to be different. Yeah. But if you think about it, what you're talking about there is how the naming of Al Gore functions in this world. Yeah. And that's really a different question to whether it's the same person. You see what I mean? Yeah. So there are issues there about how clusters of descriptions might work in different possible worlds. But for the moment, we were just talking about not what would they be called or how would they be named in different worlds, but just who would it be that we were talking about. Yeah.
So in this case, descriptions are contingent on which world you're talking about, but names pick up the same objects in every world. But what about an object, or what about World 25, where Al Gore was never born?
Right.
Where there's no existing Al Gore?
Yeah.
What about that? Because then it seems like names aren't necessary anymore in relation to their reference.
Well, we're standing here in the actual world, right? Talking about what goes on. Yes, this is World 25 here, right? And as you can see, Al doesn't exist in that world, right? So we can say in World 25, Al doesn't exist. It's a little bit complicated, I agree, because we're still identifying the same object and saying of it that it doesn't exist in this world. Yeah. But that seems to make sense. Yeah, I mean, Al Gore, after all, is not necessarily existent. If his parents had never met, he would not have existed. Yeah. Okay, things are hotting up. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And we have to keep a cap on it because time is moving on, but yeah.
I have a similar question to Josh in that, doesn't Al Gore in World 17 for someone who won the presidency, and Al Gore in the actual world for someone who lost the presidency? Isn't that sort of a contradiction to referring to the same person?
Well, it can't be because I mean, what I mean is it would be a revolution. Like, I mean, suppose Al is sitting sitting with a bottle of Scotch on election night, right? Looking at the fire, thinking, if only it hadn't been for that Jeb Bush, I could have won it, right? Then, if your analysis were correct, you could say, cheer up, Al. If someone had won it in that scenario, it couldn't have been you, because you're the guy who lost. Do you see what I mean? From Al's point of view, the whole poignancy of the situation is that he himself, that very one, could have been the one who won it. Yeah, and what you're saying, stop that being possible, but that can't be right. Yeah.
What did you say again? What's epistemic possibility?
Epistemic possibility is when, so far as we know, this could still be true. That's to say that something is epistemically possible is to say it's consistent with everything we know that this is true. Yeah. So if you and I are wondering who the murderer is, and I say, well, we can't rule out that Jones is the murderer. Yeah, because after all, he could have got that last train from Deptford Central, left just after midnight. You see what I mean? He could have done it. That's consistent with our knowledge. Yeah. Last one.
So I'm thinking of this in contrast to the things that Russell was saying. He was talking about, it's like 2 pages talking about how there's only one world, the real world, and we can talk about all these fantastic
right.
So why are we talking about these worlds that don't
Very
exist?
good. I'm very glad to see this robust sense of reality. That's great. No, you're right. This is what I meant. You must never write this down. Right? There's a sense in which you don't want to take this kind of diagram too seriously. Yeah, because there is some sense in which the possible worlds, this stuff isn't really there. Yeah. All I mean is this is a very helpful way of thinking about what's going on when you use counterfactuals. That you're specifying another possible world and asking about what's going on in it. It makes things vivid. Right? It's a very useful thing to have in your head. But you don't want to take it too seriously. It's a helpful, not mnemonic, but some kind of cognitive aid if you're into thinking about these things. But that's all it is. That's all I'm suggesting it is. Yeah. Okay. I just want to. It's very easy now to see one of Kripke's main points in naming necessity, if you're on board up to this point. Okay, here's Kripke introducing his notion of rigid designation. Okay. Let's call something a rigid designator if in every possible world it designates the same object. This is really central to naming necessity. It's rigid, it designates rigidly if in every possible world it designates the same object. So that's to say, I mean, as has been said, there could be other possible worlds where you use that name to refer to something different. But what it means is something like, so long as you hold constant the meaning of the sign, so long as you always mean the same thing when you're saying Al Gore, and you're talking about what could have happened to Al under different possible scenarios, then you're always referring to the same thing. That's what it means to say the name Al Gore is rigid. So Al Gore is a rigid designator. Yep. Is that really plain at this point? Stop me if you're not comfortable with this. There should be plain as day that the name Al Gore, by this definition, is a rigid designator. That's what it means to use a name to keep tabs on the same thing from world to world. And that's true for proper names generally. Okay, so Al Gore is a rigid designator. Consider now a definite description like VF. Suppose there's exactly one object, there's F. Suppose there's exactly one thing that wrote Waverley. Waverley has just one author. So then the definite description VF, you can say that denotes that designates the object. Right? We'll just talk about designation like that. Is VF a rigid designator? Can you put up your hand if you think the answer is yes, VF is a rigid designator? Can you put up your hand if you think VF is not a rigid designator? Oh, you guys are good, okay. Definite descriptions designate different objects in different possible worlds. That's the thing about they just specify a role that different objects could fill in different possible worlds, like the President of the US in 2001. So Kripke doesn't say what you'd call something that's not rigid, but I guess it's flexible or something like that. It's a flexible designator. It kind of flexes as you go from world to world. So definite descriptions are flexible designators. Okay, Frege and Searle were committed to saying names and descriptions have the same kinds of meanings. You can specify the sense of a name by giving a description. But if this is right, there is a really simple basic difference between any name and any description. That the name is rigid and the description is flexible. So by the description theory of names, Aristotle, this is what Frege says, Aristotle means the last great philosopher of antiquity. Could that possibly be right? Aristotle means the last great philosopher of antiquity. How can it be right? They can't mean the same thing. This one's rigid, this one's flexible. Therefore, they have different meanings. Aristotle refers to the same thing in every possible world. The last great philosopher of antiquity designates different things in different possible worlds. So that is a hit against Frege. A name refers to the same thing in every world. The designation of a description varies from world to world. So a name doesn't have the same meaning as a description. But now, look at what our conclusions are. We had this picture, there's a sign, there's a sense, the description that fixes the reference, and then there's a reference to the sign. But now it looks like this can't be right. For names, for ordinary names, for names like Al Gore or Aristotle or Ur of the Chaldees, you need something more like this kind of model. There's only the sign and the reference. And then so long as you keep the sign, the meaning of the sign the same, you're keeping the reference the same. That's what goes on from world to world. So consider now Hesperus is the brightest thing in the morning sky. You might think, well, that description is fixing the reference. But that can't have the same meaning as Hesperus, because this identity statement, this refers to the same thing in every possible world, but this refers to different things in different possible worlds. Right? So is this statement necessary? No, it can't be, because in every world you look at, the name Hesperus is referring to the same thing, but the brightest thing in the morning sky is different in all the different worlds. So in some worlds this will come out true, and in some worlds it will come out false. So it's not necessary. And as we call it in trade, that means it's contingent. Right? Meaning not necessary. But now consider Hesperus is phosphorus. Consider our old friend Hesperus is phosphorus. This is a name, this is a name. Is this a rigid designator? Yes, this is a rigid designator. Is this a rigid designator? Yes, this too is a rigid designator. Do they refer to the same thing in the actual world? Hesperus and phosphorus? Yes, they do actually identify the same thing in the actual world. This identifies the morning star, this identifies the evening star, and as, if you haven't learned anything else in this class, what we do know is that the morning star is the evening star. So they do actually refer to the same thing, right? And they refer, each of those signs refers to the same thing in every possible world, right? Yeah? But let's say they're both rigid. So consider the identity statement. Hesperus is phosphorus. Is it necessary or not necessary? Is it true in all possible worlds? Yes, it's got to be true in all possible worlds, right? Is it a priori? No. You have to figure. You can't tell us by figuring it out that Hesperus is phosphorus. You can't tell us by thinking about it that the morning star is the evening star. So this statement is necessary, but it's not a priori. How did that happen? We agreed if it's necessary, it's just got to be a priori. But now you see how easy it is to get something that's necessary, but not a priori. On that bombshell. Okay, so next time we'll look at Kripke's positive picture of how proper names do work. Okay, thanks.